My amplified unit, salute! It is time to wake up, get up, and get amplified. A lot to go over on this show today. We're going to talk the Monday Night Raw rating. Ooh, that was not so good. We have to talk about this number, though. We talk about the numbers, we talk about the ratings. When they're good, when they're not so good. WWE RAW, the go-home show to the Elimination Chamber. It was not good. On the flip side, over on the AEW front, they have a big pay-per-view in just 2 weeks from Sunday. It's called Revolution. 2 weeks from Sunday, only one announced match. That's more than a problem we have to go over. ROH has their official taping set for later this month. There's just one problem. There's no platform to put ROH. They don't even have a deal in place. I don't know what they're really doing. I don't know if Tony knows what he's doing. And tonight's Dynamite, let's just say, leaves more to be desired. We'll go over the card. So there's a lot to go over. And we're also going to discuss Valentine's Day fiasco with Rhea Ripley and Dominik Mysterio. Their big Valentine's Day date. They crashed the party, crashed the date of Rey Mysterio and his wife, Angie, the mother of Dominik. And let's just say, when it was all said and done, the tables were flipped upside down. Figuratively, not literally. But they're at it again with those skits. I just don't know why it's not on TV. We're going to go over all that and a lot more coming up, man. It's going to be a packed show on this bonus amplification today. To start off, I got to give a shout out over to JR9 Gaming, man. I was able to catch some NXT last night, and damn, they got a little bit of the ball rolling in the right direction, man. If they can keep picking up this steam, numbers could turn around for them, man. You just got to have people believe that the shows are getting better and better, and then they'll come back. But what I saw last night, man, JC, your girl JR9, she cut a damn good promo. She even called Gigi Janetti at one point. Don't know if you caught that. But the whole turn that JC did on Gigi last week, it was all HBK, Marty Jannetty from back in the day. And she's embracing that. In fact, JC's the one who told Shawn Michaels that that's how she wanted to turn on Gigi. And then this week calling Gigi Janetti. Ooh, I'm sorry, she says. I mean Gigi. I thought that was awesome. And her whole promo was about everybody thinking she was the third wheel in Toxic Attraction. And they went on to be the most dominant female faction in WWE history. That's kind of hard to argue. Damage Control, unfortunately, is nowhere near Toxic Attraction's success. They're just not. They have the talent in Dakota, Io, and Bailey, of course, but they haven't been booked as such. So JC is actually a billion % correct. And then she tells the camera to zoom in, and she says, this is going to be the most important words I ever say. Screw you. Did I have to kick Gigi that hard in the mug to get her that bruise? Yes, I did. So I'm just giving you a bunch from that promo. I thought it was really good. JC is just good on the mic naturally. That's good. We know she's getting better in the ring. That's only half the equation. But when you're kicking ass on the microphone naturally, man, any bullet point she gets, she's going to knock it out of the park. And then my girl, Roxy, she gets the next challenger for her championship, and Meiko Satomura. So that'll be interesting. I don't know how much story can possibly be added on, but match-wise, that's going to be fun. You can tell Roxy really has that respect for Meiko. That should be fun. And then, this is unpopular, I totally understand, but I'm actually a fan of Jinder Mahal. I know I don't bring it up that much because I know the rest of the world doesn't really care about Jinder Mahal for justified reasons. But I like Jinder Mahal. Looks like he's going for Braun Breaker's championship, so that's another check in the right direction for BC. It's an exhibition, you know. Jinder's not going to win the championship. I don't think so. Should not be anyway. As a Jinder fan, even if he's going to go to NXT full time, no, you don't beat Braun Breaker for a championship. And then HBK and Grayson Waller's little interactions from Vengeance Day's conference call, which I thought Shawn Michaels sold that beautifully. Like it was like IRL, man. You know, it was just beautifully done. And then Waller's getting kicked out of the building. And Waller's basically saying, you're not HBK anymore. You're just a stooge in a tie. Loved that. Oh, and one more thing, too, about JC. She's calling herself now the Heartbreak Chick. So just a lot of good stuff coming from NXT. I had to give that a shout out because JR9 did not bullshit when he said you might want to catch some of that show, BC. Very, very good. On the flip side, JR9 Gaming, my entire amplified unit. You guys know what I have to discuss right now, and that's Monday Night Raw. Now listen, I enjoyed Raw last week. I thought it was a decent show with some good parts with Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes. This week was a couple of steps backwards. It was the go-home show for Elimination Chamber, and I just felt it should have been way more packed, and it's in Brooklyn. I thought so much more creativity should have been put in that. Brock Lesnar was there. Sami Zayn was on the Raw brand. They brought in Cody. We heard Trish Stratus was there. There was a canceled segment, but she will be in Montreal, maybe even for SmackDown, but definitely Elimination Chamber. Obviously now setting something up for WrestleMania. And we're just hearing confirmed, I can fucking speak, another swig. Salu reconfirmed reports that Trish will be in a long-term plan for WWE, so that obviously tells you it's going into WrestleMania. We don't know if it'll be out of WrestleMania as well. So I felt there should have been so much more, and it just lacked this week. I think it was a several steps backwards from last week's Raw. Now, last week's Raw scored just under 1.9. They were 1.86, maybe 1.87. This week's Raw rating pulled in a 1.81. So that tells you they stayed in the 1.8s, but they dropped about 50 to 60,000 viewers roughly. That may not sound like a lot, but when you're in an Elimination Chamber go-home show, the last show before a big pay-per-view, you don't want to be losing tens of thousands of individuals. You want to gain them. Now, I told you guys in yesterday's stream, I said I won't be shocked if they pull a 1.9. It won't be on the merit that the show was actually good, but it'll be on the merit that it was Brooklyn, there was extra hype, and on top of that, it's the go-home show to the Chamber. So that was enough to bump them to 1.9. I can believe that. I won't be shocked. But I also said I wouldn't be totally shocked if they went into the 1.7 somehow, because the show was just not that good at all. And sure enough, exactly what I said. It was right in between that. It was closer to 1.7, actually. It was a 1.8, one some odd. Not good for a go-home show. And again, if the show is good, you'll see improvement. You'll see better. Now, it's a bigger issue here, and it's something I've said for months. And throughout football season, when everybody was giving WWE mulligans, everybody was coming up with excuses for WWE. Every time they pulled a bad rating, oh, it was football, BC. You're never going to beat football. BC, there's nothing they can do. Their hands are tied. Just be thankful they're pulling in what they're pulling. And those are excuses. Absolutely not. The problem, guys, is they were sinking so low. They were no longer at 1.7, 1.8s. They were getting into 1.6s and 1.7s and even 1.4s and 1.5s several times during the football season. And the big problem that BC said was when you go that low for so long, when football's done, there's no way you're going to get at even 500,000 viewers to come back. You're not going to get all of them back. So now your top audience, post-football, post-Monday Night Football, your top audience will peak at what? 1.8, 1.9, I said? And every single word that I spoke, ta-da, here we are. Every single word ended up being true. I don't bullshit on this channel. Even if you don't like what I'm saying or you don't want to believe it, I hear you. Most of the time, I don't want to say this shit. But everything I say is because it is attached to facts. And I just present them to you. Everything I tell you is in the trends, the numbers, the metrics, the statistics. That's why I say this is more of a fact-based channel than opinion-based. This isn't just BC's opinion that they won't get a lot of viewers back after football. The facts are telling us, the numbers are telling us that WWE was in a world of shit from Monday Night Raw. Sure enough, football's been done for a couple of weeks. They can't even get out of the 1/8. They were about 15,000 viewers away from being into the 1.7s, guys. Forget 2 million. And I don't even know at this point if post-Elimination Chamber can pull 2 million for Raw. So when they were getting 1/7s and 1/8s through football and everybody went, oh, it's football, BC, it's football. There is none now, man. There's no Monday Night Football. Last week, this week, none. And they're pulling in almost a 1/7 this week, 1/8 the past 2 weeks. But I thought it was going to be 2-2, 2-3, 2-4 again. That's what I was told, right? Everybody's going to come back after, but no, they went so low to 1-4 and 1-5. They went so low that they could not get back up again. And when you resurrect your audience, it's only, 200,000 to 300,000 viewers tops. And I'm saying tops from 1.5. 1/7, 1/8 was their norm for the most part, and they haven't even got back from that. They haven't added to that, I should say, after football. They're still right there at 1/8. So the whole football season, when everybody bullshitted you and said, it's football, it's fine. They just got to hold on tight, get through football season, Raw will be fine. They're pulling in the same numbers as football, guys. Same numbers. Sometimes they dip to 1-4, 1-5, no doubt. But they were always between that 1-6 to 1-9. 1-7, 1-8. They were just always in that gap, that 300,000 gap. 1-6 to 1-9. Sometimes 1-5 to 1-8. They're steady right now at 1-8. They did not even pull close to the $500,000 that everybody thought they would originally get back, which would get them to 2 million at least. I hope you guys are keeping up. That's a lot of numbers jargon. I'm a big numbers guy. I love statistics and all that, and I saw this from a mile away. I tried to wave the red flag to alarm everybody. Guys, there's a big problem in WWE for Raw. A lot of people didn't want to hear it. Nah, they'll be fine, man. Just wait till after football, BC. It happens every year. You're right, it does. And what happens every year, guys? I already went through this so many times on the channel. Every single year for the last 6+ years now, 6 and 9, it's going to be 7 years. That's what I mean by plus. The past 6 years, they lose 250,000 to 300,000 viewers every year. Every year. They're losing that. So what makes you think that going to a 1-4, 1-5 during football season, what makes you think they're going to pull all of that back to go over 2 million again? It was wishful thinking. Nobody's following the actual trends, the facts. We were just living in fantasy land. So that's the bigger problem for WWE right now, man. They have to find a way to really catapult, even get close to 2 million. Same problem AEW has on Dynamite to try to even get close to 1 million, right? That's their big goal that they need to achieve. Consistently pulling in 1 million. There's no reason Raw shouldn't be consistently, at the bare minimum, pulling in 2.2 million. Right now, they just need to try to get back to 2 million. Over on AEW side of things, they can't get to 1 million consistently. They play around in 900. Last week, they were in the 800,000s for viewership. How much farther can you really go back? And I just don't know what Tony Khan's doing. Let's go to the AEW side of things, because I'm not happy with what I'm seeing there either. Look at tonight's Dynamite. Because there's 3 different things we have to go over that I don't think Tony Khan knows what he's doing with. ROH, Revolution in 2 weeks from Sunday, and then tonight's Dynamite. Let's start with that. Let's start with tonight's Dynamite. Look at this card. I don't even know what they're... what are you doing with Adam Cole, first of all? The guy came out several weeks ago, said, I'm back, and then he just fucking disappeared again. Is he going to come back in 2 months and say, I'm back again? I understand you can't have him wrestle every month, coming back from a serious concussion like that, but man, to have such a big moment, and then it's just like, check you later. He's gone. But for tonight, you have, what is it? A Texas Tornado tag match, it's called. But isn't that every tag match in AEW? Every single tag team match in AEW is a tornado tag because the referee doesn't instill any rules. He sits there in the corner, he twiddles his thumbs, he fucking starts yelling shit out that none of the wrestlers are following. Nobody cares. He's yapping away and everybody's just fucking laughing at him. The referee holds no stock in AEW for tag matches. So AEW tag team matches are always tornado tag. Everybody is in there getting their spots in, flipping and diving all over the ring. It's just hilarious to see them actually say Texas tornado match tonight. Jon Moxley and Claudio versus Roosh and Preston Vance. That's how they're planning on getting the ratings back over 1 million. They're going to have Preston Vance. My first question would be, what the fuck is a Preston Vance? Is that the 10 guy from fucking Dark Order? Is that who Preston Vance is, if I can recollect? Preston Vance is going to do it for people. Okay. And then you have Mark Briscoe. Big Briscoes fan, Jay and Mark. You guys know that and how I feel on just everything that went down the last couple of months. But Mark Briscoe is going to wrestle Josh Woods. Josh Woods. Does half the AEW fans know who Josh Woods is? Is he really the best bet to have in a match on Dynamite when you're trying to pull in viewers because you have a big pay-per-view 2 weeks from Sunday? And Josh Woods and Preston Vance is who you're parading out there. Why Miro cannot buy TV time right now in AEW. FTR never could buy tag team AEW time on Dynamite. House of Black cannot buy AEW TV time. Lance Archer, so many others. They just can't get time. Wardlow can't be booked properly. Nobody. Because we have to book the Daniel Garcias, the Wheeler Utahs, the Action Andrettis, the AR Foxes, the Josh Woodses, and the Preston Vances. Because that's going to move the needle, and that is going to put asses in seats, and that is going to bring in your viewership, and that is going to make people want to buy Revolution. Probably not. Probably all bullshit. But you're going to get Josh Woods tonight. You're going to get Preston Vance. You're going to get an 8-man schmaz match. Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt versus Daddy Ass, Acclaimed, and Orange Cassidy. All right. And Hangman Page is going to be taking on Kip Sabian. Man, if that doesn't sound like must-see Dynamite television, I don't know what would for you guys. Maybe Ruby Soho, Tony Storm, and Britt Baker in a triple threat match. You're going to have a Texas Tornado, a triple threat, an 8-man tag. You got Schmaz City tonight on Dynamite. Let's see if they can pull the million with Schmaz City with a bunch of fucking weird matches and weird people in them. Let's see. That's Dynamite. I know. Basically, I'm going to love it. Well, good for you, man. No doubt. I'm talking about numbers. I'm talking about factual information here, man. What is pulling in new fans? Casuals are still out there. Don't you want to bring them in and show them how good AEW is and why they should buy the product? You know, AEW has been going backwards in the ratings. Again, they're in the 800,000s. You would think Tony Khan would understand, right? Because he's a big numbers guy. First thing on Thursday, he is checking those ratings. You would think he would start to change shit up, appeal to the masses a little bit more, because he's starting to lose even his diehards. He's starting to lose his tried and trues, which is the peak at 950,000 viewers. That's the peak of their tried and true audience. They've been in the 800,000s last week. That tells you that over 50,000 of your tried and true said that show sucked. They just didn't want to tune in, or they had something better to do. With no real competition. The MTV Challenge was kicking the shit out of them. So what you want to do now is understand that you're losing the numbers, the ratings, and just get better. You know what he does instead? Tony Khan does interviews, and he says, we're putting out the best product we've ever put out in the past couple of months. Then why isn't the numbers show? Why are people leaving? Why are people saying you're wrong, Tony Khan? It's very weird to me how Tony Khan lives in like La La Land most of the time. And on top of that, he announces ROH are going to have their first set of TV tapings February 25th and the 26th. That is a Saturday and a Sunday, last weekend of the month. And that's going to be Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida, formerly the Impact Zone. And we know how that ended up for them. You know, I understand it's you're trying to rekindle a promotion, but man, that just... And I love Universal. I love Orlando. I love the area. I love the studios. But man, wrestling in those studios in 2023, 2021, 22, 18, 19, 17... the last 5 years to 10 years It just drains the wrestling life out of people. It just seems like it's just so not fun. I just don't know. Studio wrestling needs a big shift, and I don't think ROH taping at Universal Studios is going to be what is needed. But that's where they're going to be taping end of the month. The bigger concern, not just where they're taping in the fucking former Impact Zone, but it's the fact that they don't really have a platform. Am I right? They don't have a TV slot. Last I checked, ROH does not have a TV platform. So you're doing these tapings. Are you going to throw this up on a YouTube, on AEW.com, a third-party site? Are you going to hold these tapings for several months, maybe a year, till you finally get a TV deal, TV rights? And these are just going to be taped a year in advance. Like, I don't understand what we're doing. And now we're hearing that there's going to be more of an ROH presence on Dynamite going forward as well to try to pump that up, but that didn't work the first time. A lot of fans said, please, no more ROH on AEW. It's diluting AEW, and it's not really helping the cause of ROH. So there's so many issues with having these TV tapings at the end of the month, with so many question marks still in place for Tony Khan and no answers in sight. And a bigger problem for Tony Khan, I'm not even done. Revolution is 2 weeks from Sunday. A big pay-per-view. They've had several months to build this thing up. And one of the cool things when AEW started, and BC said, this is what's going to be one of the funnest things for AEW, is that they're only going to have about 4-ish big pay-per-views of the year, right? We understand a lot of Wednesdays they're going to have these gimmick-type shows where they label it something and it seems like a pay-per-view worthy Dynamite. They're going to have those throughout the year. But you're going to have about 4 big pay-per-views. You're going to have at least over 2 months to build, 3 months between a lot of them. 3 months between pay-per-views, which means AEW is going to be a breath of fresh air because we are going to have storylines developing for several months, and then the culminating moments and matches for all the feuds will happen at the pay-per-view. That was one of the coolest things, right? It's old school WWF, World Wrestling Federation, when they only had 4 big pay-per-views out of the year. It was Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. This was before even King of the Ring, guys. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. And you had 3 months between each pay-per-view to really build badass stories that we could not wait to hand you our cash because we had, or get your parents to hand you the cash because we had to see how every match was going to end up. Every culminating moment, the winners, the losers, the moments, everything had to be seen. There was no checking that out the next day on a platform like YouTube. Even if there was, no, you were checking that live. So that was the coolest thing, you know? Tony Khan was not going to overdo the pay-per-view, oversaturate the market with pay-per-views because everybody else is already doing that, especially WWE. And what has happened, guys? We're starting to see something over the last year. He doesn't care. He's just trying to oversaturate and bulk up his Wednesday night shows, which he's doing a lousy job of, by the way. So by the time you get to the pay-per-view, guys, forget 2 to 3 months. Sunday, we will only have 2 weeks before Revolution. March 5th, Sunday. And you have one announced match. One announced, to the best of my recollection, you only have one announced match, and that is MJF Bryan Danielson 60-minute Iron Man match. And there's no storyline to that. Bryan Danielson just has to wrestle somebody every week, and if he wins all his matches, then he gets to MJF. That's the same MJF story, and I like MJF, by the way. Might be in the minority now. I mean, I know he ruffles a lot of feathers, but big MJF fan here. But it's the same MJF storyline over and over, so after time, it's not a storyline anymore. It's just redundancy. So you can't tell me you're that excited to see Danielson and MJF. You're at the edge of your seat because this storyline has just had you captivated to no end, to the core. That's bullshit. But that's the only announced match. Guys, you have the AEW Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter, I believe without an opponent. We have obviously some ways that they could go and maybe are going, but it's not announced. AEW World Tag Team Championships, the Gun Club just defeated the Acclaimed last week. So what do you do in just 2 weeks? You don't have any time to start a story. Do you just do the same match? Acclaimed in Colton and Austin? And they just had the rematch at Revolution? AEW Trios Championship, the Elite. Their ratings every time they're on recently has been declining. The Trios Championship has mustered no real good reaction from even the diehard, tried and true AEW crowd. So I don't know what they're doing with the Trios titles, nor does Tony Khan. The TNT Championship has been a mess. Wardlow has it, or it goes to Samoa Joe, then it goes to Darby Allin, then it goes back to Samoa Joe, then Wardlow comes back, and we're 2 weeks from fucking Revolution. We don't know what we're doing with the TNT Championship. Maybe another rematch, Joe, Wardlow, who knows? No announcement. TBS Championship, Jade Cargill, who knows who the next victim for her will be? Tony probably doesn't even know. AEW All-Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy, he's too busy in an 8-man tag tonight. Too busy. But anything storyline-wise, one-on-one for his All-Atlantic Championship? No, can't be bothered by that. That would take creativity. Guys, I'm just giving you 6 other champions right now that have nothing for Revolution. Well, BC, it's clear where they're going with X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter. It's not announced, man. A lot of the fan base is going to come out of this week. If they don't start announcing like a bunch of matches tonight, you're literally talking 3-4 matches tops going into next week. And you had 3 months to build this pay-per-view. This is everything that WWE was doing wrong for the last 10 years. Everything. And now I'm starting to see WWE announce matches way in advance. And that's with a pay-per-view every month, basically. But they're starting to put emphasis on why matches matter at pay-per-views. We're starting to see that again with WWE. I just wish Tony Khan would or should I say, pull his head out of his ass and understand that your pay-per-views still matter, man. I understand it's a lot about the TV rights deals now and trying to pop the rating, but you're not succeeding in that. So why not really captivate your audience with your pay-per-views, man? Start there. That'll generate the audience for your TV shows, I promise you. You know, you can't just have everything as just another spoke on the wheel, because every spoke on that wheel should complement each other. Every spoke should complement the next spoke. Every spoke works hand in hand with the next spoke. I just hope that Tony Khan understands, man, the way he's going about business is ass backwards, and then he wonders why he's not actually pulling in real revenue yet in his 4th year. He wanted to pull in real revenue after year 3. He's in his 4th year, and he's not doing that. He's hoping that putting out live events is going to work, but that has shown to fail over the last several years, actually. So he might lose even more money by doing the live events for AEW. On top of that, his pay-per-views no longer matter. His television shows are going backwards in the ratings, but we're all turning a blind eye and we're acting like AEW is on top of the world and putting out the best programming possible right now. But it's ass backwards, it's not the truth. Just like I call out WWE RAW, you gotta call out AEW Dynamite, Revolution, and ROH right now. And this is coming from an ROH fan, man. Roxy was my gal. Still is to this day. Jay Lethal, my dude. Still to this day. The Briscoe brothers. Way before any AEW talk or ROH went out of business or was sold or was bought out by Tony. Loved ROH. But what is happening right now with Tony Khan is odd, and he doesn't fix the problems. He just does more interviews, and he just wants to see himself on camera, and he just wants to hear himself speak more, and he talks about how amazing AEW is and how everything is perfect and everything he's doing is becoming epic and more epic by the fucking day, by the hour. He's living in La La Land, and when the ratings go backwards the past several weeks, you're not seeing Tony Khan on social or anything talking about how great the ratings are you? No. In the Blue Moon scenario where he does eclipse 1 million, then you see him talking about how great the ratings are, right? Yeah, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too, man. Call out the bad too, man. Discuss that shit. Make it better. And then people like BC and so many others can watch your product consistently every week and have fun again watching it. Things will make sense. There'll be a reason to care, a reason to give you the money for the pay-per-view. There's no reason to give Tony Khan your money 2 weeks from Sunday. There's one announced match, and everything else over the next 2 weeks is going to be thrown at the wall, and they're going to hope that some of the matches stick because people just want to see it. But there ain't going to be a story attached that you care about. I know, because I'm looking at the card. There is none for Revolution. There is no ROH platform to be presented on. They're just going to do tapings at the Impact Zone in Universal, and then they're going to have matches for the library. So that is all of Tony Khan's issues right now, and they have stacked up. They have compiled. Now that's Monday Night Raw's ratings. That's fucking Tony Khan's issues. Now what I would like to discuss as well is some positive, right? Okay, that's a lot of doom and gloom, basically. Do you have anything positive? I do, actually. And sadly, it's one of the best parts of WWE the past several months, since I believe Thanksgiving. And ironically, they don't show this on TV, or they show it after the fact because it creates so much buzz on their social and WWE.com. Of course, I'm talking about the holiday videos from the Mysterio family, man. Dominik and Rhea Ripley crashing the Mysterios at Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and now Valentine's Day. Dominik and Rhea Ripley show up to Rey Mysterio and his wife Angie's big Thanksgiving Day dinner. And they have their wine, they're eating their meals. Rhea and Dominik show up. Rey has them beat. He's a step or two ahead of Dominik and Rhea, though. Kind of knew they were showing up. Already had his mask on. I love how Rey Mysterio always has his mask on at all times. He's out at dinner with his wife, and his fucking mask is on. Love it. So he knows they're showing up. He gets up. He says, no. You know what? We're not going to do this. You sit down. You guys sit down. You take our dinner. You take our seats. We'll gladly walk off. Dominik's like, yeah, that's right. That's exactly what. See, I told you this was going to be the best Thanksgiving Day dinner ever. And Rhea's like, yes. See ya, Angie. Right, Rhea's talking shit to Angie as she leaves. So they take off, and they're getting expensive bottles of wine. They're having the time of their life. Dominik is talking about prison stories and how he used to make wine from his toilet. And Rhea's like, yes, I heard this a million times, Dominik. Because, you know, Dominik did serve hard time, at least about 30 minutes in a jail cell. So I'm loving it. And then at the end, when it comes time for the check, he says to put it on the Mysterio's bill, Rey Mysterio, his father's bill. Waiter's like, well, not so fast. I was told that it's linked up to your name, your account. It has to be you that has to pay. It's got to be your credit card. So Dominik says, oh, let's see. He's pissed. He's like, all right, I can't believe you're making me do this. He takes out his fucking card, gives it to the waiter. He says, make it fast, Dominik says. Waiter comes back, says, oh, hate to tell you this, man. You got declined. In front of his mommy, in front of his girlfriend, his old lady, his fling, his main squeeze, Rhea Ripley, his card gets declined. Now, for every dude in the world who has the old lady by their side, congrats. Hopefully you guys had a good Valentine's Day. But for anybody that has an old lady, you know one of the most embarrassing things you could do when you're out at dinner is to have that old card declined. It got declined. Obviously, the Mysterios, Rey and Angie, Mama and Papa Mysterio, obviously rang up a big bill knowing that they were coming. Maybe an even more expensive bottle of wine, but that card got declined. And then some police officers came in. They knew some people evidently at a table nearby. So Rey started thinking it was like a conspiracy, right? His card gets declined. There's cops in there. He tells Rhea, it's a sting operation. I don't want to go back to the pen. And he takes off on his date, Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley is now left with the bill. Rhea Ripley is pissed. She gets up, downs the rest of her wine, takes the bottle, has to throw down several hundreds, takes the bottle and tells the waiter, that's coming out of your tip. And she's pissed. She has to walk away on her own. A date gone horribly wrong for Rhea Ripley. And it looks like the Mysterios, Rey and Angie, have finally put one over on Dominik and Rhea Ripley. Guys, I thought this was so good. This should have happened on Monday night. This was filmed on Monday, guys. That's confirmed. This was filmed on Monday. Or was that SmackDown, man, when Angie was in attendance? What was Rey Mysterio's match? Was that on Monday Night Raw or was that on SmackDown? That might have been SmackDown. So Angie was in front row in attendance, wearing the same thing That's when it was filmed, earlier that night. So maybe Friday night that was filmed. But Angie was brought in. Angie was front row in Rey's last match. And that's when they filmed it that day. So I just don't understand why this couldn't have been on TV. These things are so fun. And it's a story progression. When we finally get to Rey and Dominik, the whole world's going to be able to see that. Not everybody's catching WWE.com or on social. You know, put that on your show. Get away from the ring every other segment. Add a unique television experience for your television audience. It's a wild concept. It's a television show. These are the type of things that we need to see more of on the actual show. I said it at their Thanksgiving crashing, their Christmas crashing, and I'll say it at the Valentine's Day crashing at the dinner party. This is the type of shit that needs to be on TV. And they're probably gonna show it. But now it's just going to be a replay. Man, to see that for the first time on TV, that will get people buzzing and talking about it the next day. In case you're wondering, that was put up just yesterday afternoon. It's already got 1.2 million views. Imagine the buzz it would have got if this was on television. But beautifully done. I love these. I can't wait till the Mother's Day fiasco, the Father's Day fiasco. It's coming. And it's going to be wild, man. I love these things, and I can't wait till they just put them on TV for the first viewing, man. The first time we're seeing it. And I know you say, well, BC, it can't be on Raw, couldn't be on SmackDown. Valentine's Day's on a Tuesday. I get it. So you literally say Rey's work is taking him out of town. So Rey and Angie are having their Valentine's Day dinner. It's going to be early. People do it all the time, man. People have to work on Valentine's Day. You make other arrangements. Dominik and Rhea knew about it. They showed up. Can easily do that. People these days, they make a whole weekend experience out of these holidays anyway. Or you film it there and then you show it the next week of shows. So that happened on Thanksgiving or on Valentine's Day, and then we see it on SmackDown or we see it on Monday Night Raw. This is what happened this past Valentine's Day. Love it. Man, it's just, it's wild how good that is. And on a Monday Night Raw, 3 hours, that lacked a lot this week. It could have used a punch in the delts like that. Great segment. Not even televised. Again, Rhea Ripley, Dominik, Angie, and Rey Mysterio knock it right out of the park yet again. Very cool to see. What else you guys want to talk about? We're already way over a half an hour. I'll end it with Miro and Conan. Conan having a little bit of a beef, right? Take a Shitta did the Eddie Guerrero this past Wednesday. It's in tribute, in honor, right? On one hand, you say, well, that's a nice thing. On the other hand, you say, dude, everybody is doing that these days. Everybody is doing the Eddie Guerrero. At what point is it just for a cheap pop? So, I didn't see the words that Conan said. I don't know what he said. I don't even want to look it up. It doesn't matter. I don't have the time to right now anyway. But that was my initial feeling when I saw Take a Shitta do that. It's kind of like, oh, nice. Why is Take a Shitta doing that? I mean, what are we doing here? Everybody that does the frog splash is now going to do the Eddie. I don't know, bro. At what point is it a cheap pop? Conan said some words about it. Miro then said something back, maybe on social or something. Conan found out about it, said he was just joking anyway. Can't believe you got worked. Relax. Miro retaliates with, well, I'm not joking. So he's poking even more at Conan. And this kind of has people talking like, dude, where's the line? Was he just kidding around? Should Miro have just let it go? Should Take a Shitta have done that? Is it in honor of Eddie, and anybody who wants to do it at any time should be able to do it? It's nothing but love to Eddie. I don't know, man. It's in the eye of the beholder. I just know that when I saw him do that, I kind of instantly thought, really, bro? Take a Shitta's doing that, man? Doing the Eddie Guerrero? It's one thing if it's Rey or a Dominik or a AAA member or somebody with lineage, you know what I mean? Somebody who really knew him well, or some type of line connection that you would connect to Eddie, I guess, it was weird for BC. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's not. It's it's anytime you want to honor Eddie, that should be a good thing. And you guys know how big of a fan I was of Eddie. I think everybody. I don't think there was ever a bad thing said about Eddie. But it's weird to see everybody do that now. Everybody's just getting the cheap pop, and then you listen after they do it, and everybody, yeah! And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Everybody can't do that, man. I don't know where's the line between tribute and cheap pop? I don't know. Eye of the beholder. But that's all I'm going to say about the beef on Miro. Miro has nothing else to do because Tony Khan won't make the call to bring him back to work. Miro said it's not his. He's waiting to go back to work. Tony Khan's got nothing for him. Same thing with House of Black. Same thing with the Lance Archers. FTR could never get called to Wednesday Night Dynamite. When they did, it was never in a tag team match. When it was, they were losing. The big stars that should be on that show, Wardlow for the longest time, they're just not on the show, and you have all these weird names appearing on Dynamite, and then you wonder why they're going backwards. But Miro is just bored, I guess, and he's just, I don't know, just saying a bunch of fucking shit over to Conan. I have no idea, man. I think I want to leave it at that. Oh, and by the way, too, hold on. Rhea Ripley's comments on the Valentine's Day segment that was filmed, not for Raw. Ripley says, the audacity of everyone getting caught up on me paying the bill and overlooking the point that Rey and Angie are self-centered. Don't be one of those girls that expects the man to always pay. Spoil your kings too. Okay, Rhea, I see you. I'm a little old school, I think the man should pay, but certain occasions, absolutely, if the woman wants to treat, I guess, it's a different day and age. But evidently, she's hearing a lot about the her paying the bill. And a lot of people are not talking about why the bill was so high in the first place and not talking about Dom running away from the police storyline-wise. People are just enraged that Rhea had to pay a bill. I don't know. But she had to comment on that. Pretty funny. And then Ripley also says, and I quote, first you got your own son arrested for absolutely nothing. Now you've ambushed us by stealing our table and cutting us off on Valentine's Day. Rey and Angie, you're both narcissistic manipulators, and it makes me sick. Love it, man. This is storyline progression, and it's not even on the shows. That's criminal. Come on, man. Put that on the show. That should be on Raw. That should be on SmackDown. That should be captivating us. Guys, BC Amplify, thank you for joining me for all of these topics and a lot of fun talking pro wrestling. I had the time, and I said, you know what? Let's discuss all of this right now. And you guys, I know we're going to rock this out. Just smash that up on the way in or out. I appreciate that. Helps the algorithm. And until next time, top guy, I'm out. BC saying check you.